From ancient predators that refuse to disappear to cryptic beings that defy explanation, Australia harbors a collection of creatures that shouldn't exist, yet somehow do. And when they are caught, they send the world into a frenzy. So hang on tight, because you won't believe what's coming. A Brazilian farmer found something terrifying in a hole in his pasture, covered in mud. It had octopus-like tentacles and big black eyes that seemed to stare right through him. It didn't look like anything from this world, more like a land octopus or some kind of alien creature. The way it moved, almost guarding the ground beneath it, made the farmer wonder if it was protecting something, but it is said the creature mysteriously vanished after a few days. Some say it burrowed deeper, and others blame the authorities for secretly taking it to their laboratories. Or were they the ones who created it in the first place? Winged creature. A hiker ventured into a forest in Central Africa and spotted a winged creature with large brown wings, soaring high above the trees. The first thought that crossed his mind was that it could be a Kongamato, the legendary flying creature said to haunt these lands. Was this the first sighting of it, or could there be more lurking in the area, waiting to be discovered? Seeing the footage again and again, I could only come to only one conclusion: that legends, after all, are created based on real life-based incidents. Vanished beast. In Texas, a team of researchers was collecting samples when they stumbled upon something strange. They saw a tall, black figure with long, disproportionate legs and a weird tail. Its face resembled that of a lizard. Could it be a long-forgotten species, or perhaps something that once roamed with the dinosaurs? The researchers were stunned. Before they could react, the creature disappeared into the forest. Terrified, they decided to call the police, hoping to get answers. But it is said when the authorities arrived and searched the area, they found nothing. It was as if the creature had never existed at all. Frozen mammoth. A video recently went viral for all the right reasons. It showed a giant creature which resembled a woolly mammoth preserved in ice, with people taking pictures of it. The creature they were trying to capture looked enormous, and I don't know if it's just me or you guys would notice it too, but the creature blinked. Now, it could have been normal, but the fact that it was kept in a museum and was preserved for hundreds of years, this could not be a possibility. Then how did it blink? Maybe it had been alive in some secret place all along. Who knows? Dinosaur escape. A wildlife expert caught a creature that shouldn't exist. He covered its face with a cloth, and, once removed, the creature ran off into the woods. It looked like an ostrich with a long, slim neck. But what was it? It appeared to be a dinosaur, which had been extinct for years. How could it still be alive? Some speculated that the expert might have created a clone from fossils, while others wondered if the creature had been hiding until now, only to be released. Dragon snake. In a village near a sewage area, villagers stumbled upon a terrifying creature sitting calmly in the dirt. Its body resembled that of a snake, but what made it stand out were two horns protruding from its head, giving it a dragon-like appearance. Was it a dragon snake? I mean, could such creatures really exist, or was it some undiscovered species? One thing's for sure, it's a discovery that will leave people talking. Who knows what other hidden creatures might be lurking in places we least expect? Island beings. A video was uploaded online and quickly became the talk of the town, and for all the good reasons. It showed strange creatures on an island. They were giant, furry, and covered in light brown or golden hair. Not bothered by the crowds recording them, they grabbed the attention of people worldwide. Some even resembled them with the famous cartoon character Lorax. This was one of the primary reasons why a few believed it to be a prank. But then another video surfaced online where they were mysteriously standing at the cave opening. It made it look like they came from the inside of that secret opening. They could be, since there's no other way to explain who they were. Goat Demon. A hunter sat waiting for his prey in the forest when he saw something crawling in the distance. He looked closely, but there was no one there. Feeling uneasy, he started scanning the area when suddenly the creature appeared right in front of him, standing on two legs. Its body was covered in fur, but its face, bizarre and goat-like, had horns that made it look even more unnatural. And just like that, the video cut off abruptly. It said that after this encounter, the hunter mysteriously vanished without a trace. Was it a demonic entity? No one can say for sure, but some believe it was. Mermaid sighting. A fisherman at a dock area had the shock of his life when he saw a creature unlike any he'd ever seen before. The giant being had hands, a bizarre pale face, and a tail that resembled a mermaid's. It looked almost unreal, like something straight out of a myth. As soon as it was spotted, the creature leaped back into the water and vanished, never to be seen again. The fisherman was left in disbelief. If it was truly a mermaid, then it would mean mermaids aren't just stories or myths. They could actually exist in reality. Hybrid horror. At an abandoned site, explorers stumbled upon a creature that could only be described as a nightmare. Lying in a corner, it had a human-like face, but its body was covered in thick fur, resembling a small bear. It seemed like a terrifying cross between a human and an animal, perhaps the result of some genetic experiment or gene splicing. The explorers speculated that a lab nearby could be behind such creatures, and maybe more of them were hiding in the area. Authorities were soon alerted and began searching for any other creatures that might be lurking nearby. The discovery raised unsettling questions about what kind of experiments had been taking place. Cursed plants. In a wetland, a farmer saw something that made him look twice. Everywhere he looked, there were terrifying plants weirdly scattered, but they didn't look like anything he'd ever seen before. Their shapes resembled clawed hands with long, sharp nails. It was strange. These plants didn't seem to belong to any known species. The farmer felt a heavy, negative energy surrounding them. He wondered if they were part of some creepy ritual or black magic. Feeling uneasy and unsure what to do, he decided to leave, convinced that the place was cursed and wasn't worth exploring any further. Frog entity. In a snowy area, a local witnessed a strange sight that left him baffled. He saw a creature perched on a thin tree bark. At first glance, it resembled a frog, but something was off. It had big black antennas, almost like strings, emerging from its head, and its body had an unusual mix of bird or fly-like features. The local stood there, unsure of what he was looking at. Was it some undiscovered creature, a bizarre cross of species, or could it have been something more unusual, like an alien entity? Hairy Croc. Some boys were having fun at night when they noticed a strange black shopping bag outside a house. One of them decided to go closer, and what they found inside was terrifying. A creepy creature was trapped inside, with a feline face and sharp teeth. The boys began to touch it with a stick, but every time they got close, it tried to attack, as if trying to escape. They began to wonder if it could be a supernatural being, like the Nahual from local legends. Anyways, they called the authorities for help. They, as usual, took the creature and never came up with any reports. Crawling giant. Australia became the center of attention for one weird creature. A visitor in the semi-arid desert spotted it crawling slowly across the ground. It had countless long legs, stretching out like a giant centipede no one had ever seen before. It was massive, unlike anything that should exist in the open. The visitor wisely kept a safe distance, recording the creature's every move. He didn't approach, but the encounter left him fascinated. It was clear that Australia's unique biodiversity held many more secrets. The visitor might have just scratched the surface, eager to discover what other strange creatures were hiding out there. Cursed Village. In a small village, the locals came face to face with a creature that sent chills down their spines. It had the body of a frail humanoid with pointed ears, long, claw-like fingers, and a face that was a mix of goblin and mythical forest creature. The villagers couldn't understand what they were seeing, but it wasn't the only creepy discovery. A few days before, a baby was born in that village that looked both human and animal. Its face, hands, and teeth were pig-like, with ears to match. The villagers whispered that the baby was somehow born of a pig. Was it possible? Or was it the result of some terrifying mix of human and animal? Some even began to say the village was cursed, explaining why these strange creatures seemed to appear more and more. Bat Raccoon. A group of hikers stumbled upon a bizarre creature lurking in the trees. It had small eyes, oversized ears, and bat-like wings. The sight was unsettling, almost unnatural, like a cross between two creatures that were never meant to mix. Some thought it was the result of a failed experiment, something a scientist had created and left behind. Later, they learned its name, Vespercoon, a terrifying hybrid, half bat, half raccoon. Locals say it's just a myth, but those hikers know what they saw. Furry Centipede. In Pakistan, a terrifying creature sparked debates among locals. It was spotted crossing the road in front of people's homes. The creature had an elongated, centipede-like body covered in shaggy white fur, giving it the look of a strange mix between a giant caterpillar and a mammal. But that wasn't all. Suddenly, the creature changed shape. It stood up on its legs and stretched taller, growing toward the sky, now resembling a giant Bigfoot-like figure. People began calling it an alien entity. Experts are now on the hunt to capture it before it can cause any harm. Snake Nest. A brave explorer, along with his partner, ventured into an unknown area, unaware of what lay ahead. He discovered a hidden lake and decided to go in by boat. What he found inside shocked him. Half submerged in the water, there was a home. Suddenly, long creatures began appearing from it. So many, it looked like a flood. They were snakes. It seemed like the place was home to a large nest of them. The discovery was sudden and dangerous. Then, the video ended abruptly. We don't know what happened next, but we hope the explorer stayed safe. Bizarre Piglet. A farmer was checking his herd of piglets when he found something bizarre. One baby, unlike the others, had only one eye and a strange face. It was very small and didn't look like the rest. Was it like this due to some kind of deformity or a genetic issue? Or maybe a bizarre cross? But the eerie resemblance with a human face makes it hard for the farmer to understand. What do you think it could be? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Lizard encounter. A YouTuber was exploring the woodland savanna in Australia when he spotted a small creature. At first, it just stood there. Then, out of nowhere, it ran straight toward him. It had a weird frill around its neck, making it look almost unreal. Before he could react, it climbed onto his hand and crawled up his back. Then suddenly leaped off, disappearing into the wild. It didn't seem harmful, just curious. Later, when he checked his footage, he realized what it was. A frilled neck lizard, one of the rarest creatures out there. He had just experienced a once-in-a-lifetime moment without even knowing it. Lake Catch. A video uploaded online and instantly went viral. It showed a wildlife expert catching a giant creature in a lake deep in the woods. The creature had many eyes and many legs. At first glance, it looked like a spider, but this thing was way bigger. The expert caught it by hand, pulling it from the water, but it didn't seem like it wanted to be caught. It struggled to break free. The team had been searching for it for a long time, and now they finally had it. Some believed it was a giant spider, others thought it was something darker. Soon, they promised, the results would reveal the truth. Forest crawl. A trail camera set in a Congolese forest was meant to capture animals, but what it caught was far creepier. The footage showed a strange creature crawling across a small path. It had multiple legs, just like a giant tarantula, moving in an unsettling way. It didn't look like anything anyone had ever seen before. Some say it could be the Juba Fofi, a legendary giant spider from local folklore. Was this creature really what people have feared for so long? The camera captured just a glimpse, but it left everyone wondering. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Roof serpent. Locals in Australia had a normal day that quickly turned extraordinary when they spotted a giant, long snake, probably an anaconda, crawling up the roof of a house. They reported it to the authorities, and meanwhile recorded the strange yet shocking activity of the giant intruder. Though the snake didn't do anything out of the ordinary, it was the immense size that made it all look impossible. The homeowners watched in disbelief as the creature vanished into the trees. The video ended, and the locals were left wondering how the anaconda got there. I guess that's one perk of living in a woody neighborhood. Spider eye intruder. A homeowner was sweeping his porch when his house camera caught something frightening. Everything seemed normal until a giant creature appeared, crawling towards him. It had many legs, like a spider, but much bigger. The homeowner tried to push it away with the sweeper, but it didn't move. It looked like it was going to attack. Scared at the sight, the homeowner ran inside, and the spider followed. Experts said they had caught it, and now the homeowner is thinking about how to prevent it from happening again. Buried python. Some work was happening near the roadside when an excavator accidentally dug into something huge. It was a massive python. It might have been chasing prey, like rodents, which led it underground. Or maybe it was hibernating. The workers decided to call wildlife experts to handle it carefully. According to the experts, the snake may have come from the nearby river. Cryptid monkey. A local was out when he came face to face with a strange being. It was sitting, feeding something, when it suddenly saw the local and jumped up. It looked like a monkey, but something was off. One of its hands was missing, and the other was shockingly black, almost robotic. Was it a cryptid monkey or a terrifying crossbreed? Maybe it had escaped from a nearby lab. The local, who was scared by the sight, decided not to stay any longer and quickly left the area as fast as he could. Digging mole. A worker was at an abandoned site when he stumbled upon a small being. He held it in his hands, noticing its small, furry body and tiny hands. At first, he thought it was just a mouse, but after a closer look, he realized it was a mole. To his surprise, with those tiny hands, it started digging into the ground. Before he knew it, it was almost completely underground. The worker couldn't believe what he saw, watching it disappear into the earth. Human serpent. People at a park were having fun when their day took a terrifying turn. They saw something lying on the ground. It had strange, snake-like patterns and a human-like body, but something was off. It seemed to be transforming into a snake. People whispered that it was a human changing into a snake. Was it some curse or a half-human, half-snake creature? Everyone started recording, as no one had ever seen anything like it. Soon, park authorities arrived to handle the situation, and nothing more was heard about the strange strange being that spooked the crowd that day. Whales return. A giant ship was venturing through the ocean in Japan when something massive got caught in it. Crew members quickly worked together, managing to bring the creature inside. It was enormous, with strange linings running across its body, unlike anything they had seen before. At first, they weren't sure what they had captured. Some thought it was an undiscovered sea creature, but after closer examination, they realized it was a fin whale, the first one caught in 50 years. Knowing it belonged in the ocean, they made the decision to release it back into its natural habitat. Vanished creature. In a village, a farmer stumbled upon a strange creature that made him do a double take. It was small, black, and looked like a mix between a goat and a dog, with a bizarre tail that seemed out of place. The creature stayed still for a moment, then suddenly bolted off, disappearing into the nearby fields. The farmer, unsure of what he had seen, couldn't help but wonder if it was some sort of demon or cryptid. Later, a group went to search the fields, but there was no sign of the creature. It had vanished without a trace, leaving everyone puzzled and curious about what had truly been lurking in the village. Giant carcass. At a beach, a giant sea creature's carcass was discovered, leaving everyone in shock. Experts were immediately called to handle the situation. They used a crane to lift the massive creature, which was so huge it required a truck to transport it. The creature's size and appearance had people talking. Some believed it was the carcass of a giant whale, while others argued it was a sea monster. The experts carefully loaded it onto the truck, either to take it back to their base for further examination, or perhaps to bury it. The discovery stirred up many questions, with locals and online communities debating what it truly was. What do you think? Giant centipede. A video recently went viral, showing something moving along a human arm in an unsettling way. The creature in question seemed to glide smoothly, also its many legs moving in a synchronized, rapid manner. With each step, it became more clear that this was no ordinary insect. Its appearance was both fascinating and horrifying, as the creature's front limbs looked strangely adapted for something more than just movement. In the end, it was revealed to be a giant centipede, a predator known for its venomous bite and remarkable resilience. Fascinating, yet dangerous, it's a creature to be admired from a safe distance. Shifting feathers. A local once caught a pigeon, but it was no ordinary pigeon. The moment he shined a light on its feathers, something unbelievable happened. Bright, colorful patterns appeared, shifting like magic. Without the light, it went back to looking ordinary. The onlookers couldn't help but compare it with the mythical Ebong Adarna, the mythical bird known for its magical feathers. If that were true, then the legend wasn't just a story anymore. It was real. And if one existed, who's to say there aren't more out there? Scaled mystery.
Harus kenceng nih guys, megangin nih guys. Gak kenceng lepas nih.
Afraid of snakes? You'll forget that after seeing this creature. A villager caught something so bizarre. The whole town gathered to see it. Its body had a scaly, reptilian texture, but strange black hair grew from it. Its face? Creepy, almost snake-like, but not like any snake people had ever seen. Some thought it could be a reptilian beast. Others believed it was something undiscovered. The villager wasted no time. He decided to hand it over to experts for further study. What they'll find is still unknown. But one thing's for sure, this creature shouldn't exist. Alien embryo. In Sydney, a resident was jogging down the street when something stopped him in his tracks. He spotted a small, rounded creature near flowing water. Its translucent body resembled an embryo, and it had a bizarre tube-like thing attached to it. Curious, the resident touched it with a stick, but it didn't move, almost like it had hardened. He wondered if it had come from the nearby river, but that didn't seem right. Could it be an alien creature, or maybe even an alien embryo? What if the water was some secret base for them, or perhaps aliens were living in a nearby sea or ocean? Forest giant. On the 30th of July, 2022, in southeast Queensland, just as dusk was settling in, a local captured brilliant footage of a giant creature. It was tall, dark, and muscular, moving behind the trees in a way that seemed unlike any normal animal. Many people who saw the footage believed it could be the legendary Bigfoot. The creature's presence left everyone questioning what they had just witnessed. What's your take on this? Teke. At night, a local stood on the street when something suddenly appeared from the darkness. It was crawling creepily, moving quickly towards the man. Terrified, he ran away. Word spread, and many others claimed to have seen the same creature. The street was soon declared haunted, and people stopped coming at night. They started calling it Teke, a ghostly being said to haunt anyone who dared to walk that road after dark. The fear was real, and the street became a place to avoid. Shifting deer. A recent clip online grabbed a lot of attention for good reason. It showed a deer standing still, but then something shocking happened. The deer moved its tail, and suddenly its lower body shifted and became longer. How could that even be possible? Even more bizarre, it looked directly at the camera, almost as if it knew it had been caught. People couldn't stop themselves from calling it a shapeshifter or a skinwalker, suggesting the deer was just a disguise. What do you think? Let me know your thoughts. Bizarre feast. A video uploaded online took the internet by storm. It showed a woman trying to cook a giant sea creature. The size alone was shocking. Long, slender limbs stretched out, almost like spider legs. Some thought it was a deep-sea species never seen before. Others believed it could be an oversized sea spider, a creature that usually stays in the darkest ocean depths. Whatever it was, the sight was hard to forget. If this thing came from the deep, what else could be lurking down there, waiting to be discovered? Burrowing terror. The woods seemed peaceful, but one hiker got a terrifying surprise. He saw a creature with many tentacles, angrily digging into the soil as if trying to burrow underground. It looked like an octopus, but that didn't make sense. Octopuses belong in water. So, what was this creature? Was it an undiscovered species? Or perhaps a land octopus? The hiker decided to keep his distance, sensing danger. He didn't want to get too close to something so strange. Winged mystery. Everybody has pets, right? But one local had a very strange one. It was a black, furry cat. But what made it different were its wings. Yes, you heard that right. A cat with wings. It seemed so odd. Could it be the result of a bizarre cross or some kind of deformity? Maybe scientists were conducting strange experiments, and this cat was one of their results. Who knows? Maybe there are more creatures like this one out there. What do you think? Locust storm. A farmer got the shock of his life when he saw his fields covered with strange creatures. There were so many, almost like a storm of them, surrounding a tree as well. It was spooky, and they weren't moving. The farmer, using a tool, tried to remove them. Shockingly, they were alive. Later, he realized they were just locusts, a huge swarm. It happened when they were migrating, taking over fields. Now, the farmer is thinking of safety precautions to deal with them next time. Color-changing scorpion. A video uploaded online went viral after showing a creature trapped in a container. When the person took off the lid, a scorpion was revealed, but not a normal one. The point where the lid was removed was blue, and suddenly it turned black. After a while, it turned blue again. How could it be changing colors? Was it some kind of cross between a scorpion and a chameleon? Well, it sure seemed like it. Sea monster. Beachgoers found a strange creature washed up on the shore. It had a long body with a wide mouth and sharp teeth. Its face resembled a catfish, but the rest of its body didn't match anything familiar. Some believed it was a giant eel, while others called it a sea monster. The stench from its decaying body quickly spread, so the locals called experts to take it away or bury it somewhere far from the beach. Let us move on towards our subscribers' pick of the day. In a misty swamp, something huge was spotted by the boys. As they got closer, they saw it clearly, a giant turtle, stranded and struggling. It didn't belong in the swamp. The boys, unsure but determined, decided to help. They slowly dragged it toward the water, and to their surprise, the turtle seemed to help too, moving as if it was eager to return home. When they reached the sea, it swiftly flapped its fins, as though relieved to be back. Thanks to those boys, the giant turtle was safely returned to its rightful home, where it could swim freely once again.